Good morning, good evening, hey, hi, hello, and welcome to this week's Fiverific Live Craft and Chat, where we craft and chat live. Just waiting to see what's going on over on YouTube. It doesn't appear that you guys, there it is. Just took a little second for it to get over there. A couple of people are going hard in the chat already. I'm just going to bring that up. Good morning to Kathy, Angela, and Sandy is having a great day on the Sunshine Coast. No, what am I saying? South Coast. It's because I'm obsessed with the Sunshine Coast. That's what it is. Susanna's in the house. Hello. Leanne is here chatting as well. And Angela and Josephine. Everybody is here. When I first come in, the chat's not in order. Sorry, guys. I know that some of you got in early. I think Leanne got our first message in today. Good morning to another one of our amazing moderators, Sally. Sally and Leanne are both in the house, and Josephine, all here to, keep it fun for everybody. We are in the throes of getting ready for retreat. So we leave tomorrow for retreat. Some people have got to fly in, so they're all getting ready and packed today. And, well, I personally, if I was flying tomorrow, I would have been packed yesterday. But that is me. That is me personally. Kelly Pole is here. Hello. Christina Epstein is hi from the not so right. It is so cloudy out there today. I'm a bit shocked. I was just in the lounge room because I'm in this room and it's all blacked out. I can't see the world in this room. And I went out into the lounge room to grab something and I'm just like, it is cold and grey. Anyone would think it was winter, honestly. Sal says, not packed yet. Okay, Sal, you got the rest of the day, honey, and then you've got to get it all ready to go. I made like an executive decision last night on how I'm going to lug everything and what I am not going to be taking. Those of you that aren't coming to retreat, I'm sorry, it's probably going to be a bit of a retreat-centric day today. I've got the blanket, so I'll get onto that in just a second. But then I was sort of like, okay, I've been frazzling trying to get things done for retreat, and I had to make some decisions. Like, you lost 4 weeks of prep time, and it's the busy 4 weeks. It's the, oh yeah, I'll get I'll get a bit of something done every day so that I'm not overwhelmed at the end. Well, now I'm overwhelmed at the end because I didn't get any of it done. So I've had to make some decisions on what's getting done, what's not getting done, what's being left out. So yeah, it's been a bit stressful, stressful, but also like relieving. Like when you make that decision to be like, you know what, it's just not going to happen. So stop freaking out about it and do the next important thing, because that wasn't that important. So it's not going to wreck anything for anybody. You're just going to, like, a lot of it's all about the things I expect me to do. It's got nothing to do with the expectations of the attendees. So I'm my own. Who here in the chat is their own worst critic? Like, that would be me. I am my own worst critic. Absolutely. Angela says, woot for retreat. I'm going to Gen Con. Oh, I know what Gen Con is. You are going to have an absolute blast. Gen Con looks phenomenal. I've never been, but I know what it is. So yeah. Lots of people here in the chat are coming to retreat. That is good. So, Caffeinated Crafters, if you want it to run, you need to DM me, because at this stage, I don't believe we have a booking. I'm not going because I'm getting stuff ready for retreat. But if you want to go, you need to DM me so that I can make sure there's a space there for you. Shannon is her own worst. I'm assuming that's, yes, lots of people own worst critics. That would be me. Me too. Yeah. I didn't think I would be alone on that one, honestly. I thought there'd be a few people in there definitely criticizing themselves harshly for probably things that don't deserve that kind of criticism, really. We should all give ourselves a little break. Give ourselves a little break. So yeah, Yeah, it's one of those things. Well, one thing I did get done was I actually got the pink row crocheted. No, this end. This is the end. I got the pink end crocheted after last week's stream ending on a coloured row. So we it's time for some math rocks. So let's jump over to the other camera angle, and then we are going to go for the dice roll time. It's dice roll time. Roll the dice to choose the next colour. Okay. So look, we've had a couple of purples. We've had a couple of the what's that colour called? Galah. A couple of Galahs. Let me know in the chat which colour you think we are due for. And I just want to say, I don't think we're due for Anemone, number 3. I don't think we're due for purple. Knit Spin Girls, I knew it. I knew you or Lisby were just going to be like, whatever, don't care what colours have been done. Give me the purple. I'm just going to move that. I'm going to move that out of the shot. Oh, that's too... Man, I've got to move the microphone over a little. Sorry if the audio is a bit iffy, but... Oops. I just wanted to make it better. Yellow, greens, wild card, yep. Amelia says, have some grace. It'll go well. It's about catching up. Project time is each individual's choice. Absolutely. Okay. All right, let's roll a dice. Let's start with the green dice today. Alrighty, let's roll. 1. We've got Rooster. We don't have too much Rooster in the project. This is probably like the... What is it? There's like maybe 4 rows, don't it? 2 rows. 3. 1. This is the 4th row of Rooster in the entire project. And while it's not the brightest of colours... Wow, that camera is shaking hard today. I'm just going to try my hardest not to lean on the desk. I've got to work out an alternative. When I get back from retreat, I have to make some decisions about this overhead camera, to decide what we're going to do to deal with this little camera's dying. See this section just here? It doesn't focus at all, no matter what I do. Like, here is focused, here is not focused. So it must have some dead stuff in the actual camera. So even aside from the hole, it can't cope with the pink, which I'm not going to judge it harshly for not being able to cope with the pink. But it also can't cope with focusing the entire thing. Mary Money, it's great to see you here in the chat. Yeah, it's been a long while for Rooster, hasn't it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so after retreat, I have to decide what I'm going to do. So I've worked some stuff out. So with existing cameras, with some inexpensive spending, I want to say. All right, how do I put this? Inexpensive in the land of camera spending, all right? Like, let's be honest, it's not that inexpensive. But I can turn one of my big DSLRs into a really solid overhead shot. Yeah, it's a camera with macular degeneration. It's a bit like that. So I can turn an existing camera into a good option, but this stand can't hold it. It's too big. It's too heavy. This stand barely copes with a webcam. So I can do that. So that's a solid camera coming in, but I will need to purchase a battery pack for that camera, and in the long term look at getting a different lens, because the lenses I've got are photography lenses. They are perfect for what I bought them for, but they are not perfect for this. The other option is go out and spend a few $100s and replace this camera with exactly the same camera, with the possibility of it doing exactly the same thing. Then the other option is go out and spend a few $100s for a a new, oh, my brain, I'm thinking cam link. It is a, what do you call it? It basically makes it so you can put HDMI into your computer. So video, cam link video, it's not converter, it's, my brain won't give me the words. Anyway, go out and buy a new cam link, but that means I can utilize the Canon M6 that I already have, but it turns off every 30 minutes. So we would be bringing back the old yell at Chantelle when the camera goes off thing. So, or I spend $1,100 plus a cam link, get a great camera, get a great, input, basically replicate this, get another setup like that one and do that. So I don't know what I want to do, honestly. I really honestly think the long-term capture card. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you. My brain just wouldn't give me the words. So yeah. Shannon, I see your question about how to start a row. Do you want how other people start a row or how I start the row? Because I do it slightly different. Josephine taught me a way to do it that made it a bit easier for later on. So, and are you talking about, the starting this row or starting a row on another project? Yes. So, like the face cam, exactly right. So basically set up another camera, like a good solid camera with a good lens, with a good HDMI capture card. That's I'm looking at over $1,000. That's over 1,000 Australian dollars, I should say. Whereas the other options are more like in the couple of $100s, but they're likely to become an issue again in a few years. It's one of those things, you either pay tons now, solve the problem for 5 years, or pay a little bit now and have the problem crop up every couple of years. So I've been doing the pay a little bit now and have the problem crop up for a few years now. And I'm like, should I just bite the bullet? I don't know. I'd have to sell some things. There would have to be some stuff going on. Yeah, Bianca, I use a Sony A6400. I'm a fan of Sony. I have existing Sony glass. So that would be useful. I don't use handy cams, just so you know. Video cameras, I don't use them. I use mirrorless cameras just because I've got things I like. And so like I've got particular imagery that I like to be able to create that you can't create with a handy cam. How I do it on this blanket? Yeah, okay. I can show you that right now. Let me just grab another color. Because the advantage of this is I can just move over. All right. So what I do to join on a color, right, is get my hook and in the back loop, because of this is the project. So in the back loop, bring through a loop. Now when I go to do the chain, because we're just going to do a standard chain, I actually flip this across so that it's on the other side, do a chain, and so because it's over here now, I'll do the single crochet over the top of that, and then I'll push it back to the other side. Is that what you wanted to know? I can do it again. So into the back loop, this camera is not, there we go. See what I mean? Like not focused. Focused into the back loop, draw through a loop, I flip that across, chain, and then going over that I do a single crochet, and then I give it a little snug, not too much, but give it a little snug, and then pull it back out of the way and then move on to the next stitch. And then then at the end I just pull that, they're all knotted, and I don't have to worry about, you know how you have to go in and knot all of the ends. This side is not going anywhere, so this side is normally pretty good already, like the end side, because you do pull the loop through and create the knot. This side, you normally have to go in and tie knots. I don't need to do that now. So it's done. And when I'm doing the edge, I just need to make sure that I'm making sure that the loops are in the right spot. So I have added in an extra single crochet to the pattern so that I can just eat that whole single crochet and still have the 4 stitches. So I'll do my borders down here. So it'll just eat all of that, which will take all those colours with it. So that's I lock it in nice and secure, like Leanne says. But yeah, so cameras. It's a tough call. It's a tough call because it's an expensive game, really. And while yes, I can absolutely utilize second cameras and do all sorts of things with them, do I really do it? Not usually. Doesn't mean that I can't in the future, and having a better quality second camera would open some of that up. And it would also mean that if I go out and spend $50, I think, for the uninterrupted power supply for the other camera, it would mean that I could probably set it up somewhere else and utilize it for spinning videos or something like that. But anyway, so there's thoughts running around my brain, but none of which I can do right now. And because it's, an exercise in I don't even know what to do. Like I've got options. I've got plenty of good options, and that's the problem. It's not like there's only one good option. I mean, there's the option that I just wish I could just go out and do, which is replace this camera with the same one as over there. I definitely like having everything match. But, that's not how life works. Shannon says, I'm not a fan of knots in my crochet. Hey, look, I agree with you 100%. I do not knot my yarns. I do not. I don't use knots in my I don't use knots in my projects pretty well ever, except for ending off, and that depends on what kind. Like if I'm ending off a granny square, I don't do the pull it through the loop and yoink it. I'll actually pull it out and then do the weavy thing so it's invisible, which is a new thing for me, so hence my excitement. Sandy's asking, is there a reason you don't go through both loops at the start? Most Mosaic you do. Look, there's no real reason, honestly. I do it otherwise. I do it because my brain will be like, oh, we're going through both loops, and then I'll realize I've done both loops through an entire row. Whereas if I start off on a single loop like that, I continue on that way. So that's a personal thing. There's no real reason for it other than my brain is cruel to me and makes me, go off and do the same thing over and over again. And it wouldn't have been the first time that I've gone through, a color row or something and realized I have to pull the entire thing out because I've gone through both loops. So it's just like a mental reminder for me, go forth how you started. Since so many people have asked you how you do the first stitch, do you think you could do a video? I could, not this week, but I could, absolutely. I'll make a little short on it with I've got a little camera mount that puts the point of view right here. So I will make sure I do that. And I will do it both ways with single loop and back loop. But yeah, I just do the back loop for me. It's got nothing to do with the pattern. And Sandy's right. Most designers do recommend you go through both loops. But if I do that, then I screw up an entire row. Because, me. Oh, good answer. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Sometimes stuff happens just because I need to do it that way, just so I do it. What have you got in your cups? I've got hot honey water because I'm still getting over all this junk, and I'm just topping up with a bit of fresh hot. Whoops. I'm still not 100%, which is really frustrating for me. So I'm still trying to protect my voice, still trying to protect my energy levels and get stuff done. And that's the big, oh, look at that. Hello, big chunk of yarn bath just dropping out. Yeah, so I'm still trying to just, make it through a day without a nap, really. No, you can't see me go back and do backflips. Hot tea, carrot cake, tea. Is it carrot cake tea or do you have carrot cake and tea? Because like I'm in for both. I'm very curious about carrot cake tea. And also, I love carrot cake. So carrot cake. Now, this is the thing. Do I like carrot cake or am I obsessed with the cream cheese frosting that goes on carrot cake? Like, I don't know. I know I love hummingbird cake a lot. It would probably be my favorite cake. Like, the hummingbird with the pineapple and the banana and the walnut. Anyway, it's got pineapple and banana and walnuts all mixed through the cake batter. It's kind of like a carrot cake crumble. But instead of carrots, you use fruit. I'm there for that. And again, it gets the cream cheese frosting. Like, hello, I'll have that. Or do I just want a bowl of cream cheese? No, I don't. I need the cake as well, definitely. I already had coffees today. I've had 2 coffees this morning. I start my day with 2 coffees every day. I'm not a doctor. I do not recommend this. But I also am not going to stop because if I stop, then I just sort of sleep all day. Let me have a look. Oh, Leanne has, I've got a scrub. Game Widows has a chai latte. My nose is in my cup. Very good. Your nose is in your cup. Okay. I have sparkling water plus a coffee. A flat white coffee for Bub. Angela's onto the water. Coffee always at this time? Yeah, I finished my coffee just before, early enough for me to finish the last sip, take the cup out into the kitchen, then come in and go live. I should probably drink more water. No, I actually drink about 500 mils of water before the coffees, so I'm doing okay. I check with my doctor and he's like, how many coffees are you having a day? And I'm like, yeah, most days 3. I have 2 first thing in the morning and then 1 at like 2 o'clock. But other than that, that's it. Sandy fast to 1. Okay. Cream cheese frosting. Yes, absolutely. Chamomile tea for Shannon. Sal's just finished her mocha. John is celebrating 20 months of membership. Thank you so much, John, for supporting. You and the other channel members make it so I can make some of these, camera decisions. And like when the microphone situation happened, I was able just to go out and buy this microphone so that it doesn't pick up all the noise from my family doing, stuff once I had to move the studio back into the house. All of these, like you guys supporting every month means that I can plan and I can put the money away for things. And I really appreciate that you all do that. So thank you. And 20 months, man, that's nearly 2 years. That's coming on. That's coming on. And I know you've been a fan a lot longer, like a fan, a follower, supporter, a lot longer. But yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm sorry. Can one of the mods just kick Knitspin Girls Creations just right out of the chat? Not a fan of cream cheese frosting. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know what to say. Leanne has 2 new lambs at her house, unexpected deliveries, and one of them is like a total Houdini. Houdini's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Goodness me. Stalker. I mean, I wasn't going to say it. No, I don't think any of you guys are stalkers. Vampire is here. That is awesome. Angela says, give me all the cream cheese frosting. Oh, yeah, I agree with you. Fondant is not my favorite. Like, some things, like, yeah, the fondant works, but mostly the fondant could be replaced with anything else, please. A cold coffee made an hour ago until I forgot it. You know what? Like, Yeti mugs. The number of times I have forgotten that I made a coffee in my Yeti mug and then I take a sip and I do a little dance because it's still hot. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I made it in this cup. And I got an email. Yeti mug is now in like this cosmic cup. It's purple. Yeah, Yeti mugs are available in purple now. So, go and have a look. If you're thinking about it and you want to get yourself a treat, They're not the cheapest in the world, I'm not going to lie, but they have great warranty and they keep your coffee hot when you forget about it. Honestly, they just keep your coffee hot. Look, Bianca, yes, I too like fresh cream on things. Absolutely. Many years working in a bakery, I do not like I can't deal with the mock cream because I know how it's made and I've seen it in buckets that were not mixed properly and then we had to mix them. It put me off mock cream forever. But I think on a carrot cake, I like a cream cheese frosting. On a sponge cake, I like fresh cream, grated chocolate, and strawberries. That's like, we'll just dig right in. That's my favorite. Oh, there you go. Sal has put her hand up to take on Knit Spin Girls cream cheese frosting. Absolutely. Yeah, freaky. That's how much I paid as well. Yeah, it was not inexpensive. That's what I'm saying. It's a treat. It is a definite treat. So yeah. I like this. If it has to be fondant for the effect, then it has to be marshmallow fondant. I don't think I've tried marshmallow fondant. I would have to have a look at that. Oh no, Lisby. What you need to do is just buy yourself another one and give that one to your husband. Personally, I don't care about the color. I picked orange because it was different. And I knew that if I picked like any of the teals or minty green colors, my daughter would just steal it. So yeah. Now I think mock cream is good as like for those people that are lactose intolerant and need to get some cream into their diet. No one needs to get cream into their diet, but wants to get a bit of cream on their food. Yeah, you know what? It serves a purpose, whatever. But if I've got a choice, it's not that. Oh yeah, see, carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. Oh, nom 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 nom. Yep, absolutely. And also, I can't just read those words without making the silly noise. That's how it works. I like the way you think. I drink my tea black, so when freshly made, it's too hot to drink, so I put it aside to cool a bit and then forget about it every time. Look, what I tend to do is I go to make a cup of tea, put my tea bag in the cup, pour in the hot water, and then forget that I started making a cup of tea. So, yeah. You have teal and minty green. Lovely. I like both those colours. I approve. I bought a Yeti and had to go back and buy one with a handle. I've been looking at the ones with handles. How do they, like, are they good? I like the hot shot lids to keep everything hot. And like when I kick it over, because I do that as well, it doesn't go everywhere. Can I get one with a handle and a hot shot lid? I like the hot shot lids. Although in saying that, I am liking the look of the other lids a little bit. I saw photos of Kelly's and I quite like the look of it. So I don't know. Maybe down the track. I've got to do camera buying before I get to do any other fun buying. I may have done some purchasing. Smallville was on special. And I bought the 10 season box set for like 60 Australian dollars. And I'm just like, I already own season 1 and 2, but I'm like, whatever. I'll buy the box set. So it hasn't arrived yet. I'm really hoping it doesn't arrive tomorrow, like when my family is here and I'm not here. Because there will be judgment. There will legit be judgment. In Australia, in other news, in Australia, Disney has decided that after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, they will no longer be bringing in physical media. So if you like your DVDs and you like your box sets and all that sort of stuff, and you're in Australia, too bad. Like, whoops. And I noticed this morning, because I went and had a look, JB Hi-Fi are having a big sale on their Disney media. So $10 Blu-rays. So that's a bargain. Blu-rays are normally $30, 20 to 30 depending on the Blu-ray. But $10 Blu-rays over on JB Hi-Fi if you're in Australia. So go and check it out. It looks really good. I had to back away. I put like 10 things in my cart and I'm like, back away. You just bought a box set. So yeah. A handle and a lid is required, like an adult sippy cup. You know, I do kind of feel like that's what these are like for me, like my water mug. It's kind of like an adult sippy cup. I'm like, I don't care. I get to keep my lipstick on mostly. For me, it's a nostalgia comfort thing. When in hospital as a kid, Mum would bring me a cream donut from the canteen. They were my cream. Yeah, look, I will agree with you. For me, the nostalgia part was the raspberry plum jam that they would pipe onto those. So for me, when I get my hands on raspberry plum jam, then thank you, Sal. Yeah, when I get my hands on raspberry plum jam, that's when my nostalgia kicks in. Or even just is it Golden Circle plum jam that comes in the can? Like, that's the other one. I haven't even tried to buy that in years, so I don't even know if it still exists. Add to broadcast. No more physical media. We'll send Blu-rays for Tim Tams. This is the question, though. With Blu-rays, I know that the US and Australian DVDs are on different formats. Like, we've got different areas. So, but what about, I'm not sure about Blu-rays. So I'd have to check. And I do watch my Blu-rays in a PlayStation. So I don't actually even have a Blu-ray player right now. But yeah. Aspen May Woods has made it to 2 lives in a row. That is a record. I actually don't know if it is a record for you. I'm just being cheeky. But it is good to see you back. Absolutely. Oh, dear. My Tupperware drink bottle is a giant sippy. I love it. Yeah, because they do the little flip out nozzle lid thing too, don't they? Yeah. So, we'll send US Blu-ray player. Tim Tams. I've sent you a photo of the Australian choice of Tim Tams, right? Like, we've had this discussion here like many times. I have like American viewers going, I can get Tim Tams. It's like, dude, you can't. You can get something that has a Tim Tam branding made in. It's like me going, I can get Coca-Cola. Australian Coca-Cola tastes different to US Coca-Cola. Our ingredients are different. They're made in different places. You know, like, we use cane sugar. Like, in everything, it has cane sugar. So, but yeah, and Australian Tim Tams, apparently US Tim Tams have coconut in them. So, yeah. Tim Tams from Australia are different than the Tim Tams available in store in the US. They just are. I would be curious if the Reese's peanut butter cups that I just purchased, I should have checked the packaging. They would have told me if they were made in the US, because I like those. They're good. And nerd ropes. Like, if I have to think about things from America that I absolutely have fallen in love with, my online friend who I've never met in real life, Cody Warner, he put me onto nerd ropes. And I both love and hate him for that, because I love them because they're ridiculously sweet, but tangy, but sweet, but tangy. And you can eat a bit and put it away. You don't have to have the whole lot at once. Yeah, it's, yeah. Nerd ropes. Maybe they're called something else. Hang on. I call them nerd ropes. Oh my gosh, I bet they have a different name. No, it's called nerd rope. It's absolutely called nerd rope. It's like, you know, the little nerds lollies in the little box where they're like the little rocks. Well, it's all those rocks stuck to a lolly strap. I'm just seeing if I can. I'm going to grab you a link. Copy, live stream. There you go. That's a link to nerd ropes. So if anyone needs to see. Yeah, that's exactly right, Aspen. We have Kit Kats, but Japan has all the Kit Kats. Exactly right. And that's how we are with Tim Tams. Like other countries might get a flavour, but if I go to the grocery store and there's any less than 10 choices, I'll be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? They've got no stock. Like, are they selling out? What's happening? Yeah, you can buy, like Aussies, you can buy them at Woolies individually, just so you know. Um, yeah. They're not the cheapest of treat, but they are available. Angela says my fiance loves nerd ropes. Yeah, it is. And Sal, I didn't like nerds. I didn't like the annoyingness of the, like, you got to eat a pile of them. You can't, they were annoying to eat. So that's what I like about the nerd rope is you can have a bite and you get like, anyway. I love that the link in our crafting chat is to nerd ropes. Okay. I'm sorry. Have we not learnt that I can't stay on topic when it comes to these live chats? I'm like sitting here for 2 hours. My brain just like, welcome to Chantelle, where my brain goes everywhere. Like, it's different if I'm on like a work call and I have an agenda and I've got like notes and a flow and things like that. But here we're just crafting and chatting and it's just a fluid conversation and who knows what we're going to be talking about. It's just one of those things. Vampire says, I didn't know our Tim Tams here in Australia were different until I watched Crochet Clock a few years ago. It just never occurred to me other countries make the same name products differently. Yeah. Molly, really? I love Polly Waffles. I was so sad when they left. Oh, I hope they come back and I really hope they don't improve the recipe. I loved them the way they were, although I wouldn't mind better quality chocolate on the outside. Like, let's be honest. But no, Dolores, I understood you meant it in a good way. But yeah, if someone was new and like coming in here and just had no idea what on earth was going on, like that would be amusing. It would be highly amusing. Yeah, it's just what we do here, right? It's just what we do. All right, we are at the end of the row. Oh my gosh, I received a box. Wow, that does sound like a lethal gift, I have to say. A box from a friend in the US yesterday, and she's put in some Reese's egg-shaped chocolates in along with pumpkin spice Starbucks coffee and fudge-covered Oreos. A very lethal gift. I know. Oh my gosh. A South Australian company bought the rights to it and it's supposed to be the same. Oh, my fingers are crossed so hard. They're made differently in other countries because of copyright issues. Look, it could be. It could also be something as simple as in Australia, our primary sugar is not corn sugar or beet sugar. Our primary sugar, our least expensive sugar out there, is cane sugar. So when it says sugar on something in Australia, it's cane sugar. Whereas in the US, it's either corn syrup, like corn syrup, or it's beet sugar, because you guys don't do the cane sugar to the same degree we do. Or at least you didn't. I mean, that could always change. Alrighty, we have finished with... I'll just shake the entire desk. Good job, Chantelle. Well done. Yay! We are on to... Back onto... that one. I really should move that image over. Okay, pink flamingo. Look, our blanket is really coming along in length now. Like, I would say it's probably over a third of the way done. Over a third. Now, you guys also have to tell me when you guys get sick of me working on this project, because I'll just keep working on it until it's done. But if you guys get sick of it, you have to tell me. And we can add in something else. We might even just, after a retreat or something, throw in a spinning day just for something different. Oh, Susanna. welcome to the fold. Susanna has become a member of the Coffee Clutch. Appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for doing that. We used to do the cane sugar, but then it all got turned into rum. Yeah, well, we just grew more cane. Like, we just grow more cane sugar. There goes the healthy eating there. It's what we do in the shadows. It's not the first time you started and completed a project. It's really not. It's really not. I'm mindful of the fact the Queen took years, and I don't want you guys to get bored. And I'm also mindful of the fact that quite often some of you are just here because it's, something to pop on in the background. It actually doesn't matter what I'm working on. So you just need to, keep me informed of the boredom levels, and I would appreciate that. Yeah, definitely would appreciate that. There we go. So so today, after the live stream is over, I'm going to have some lunch, and then I am going to pop on a load of washing. I'm just going to go through everything on my list. I have a couple of orders to pack. Then I shall pack up the stock that I'm taking to retreat, which is basically everything that's left. Retreat attendees, I'm bringing the button stash, just as a FYI. If you need buttons for a project, bring it. And then after that, I will sit down and, I suppose it depends on how long that takes, but my plan is to sit down and start dividing up the looty bags. Everyone gets a loot bag that comes to retreat, and I've got everything all set up and ready to just fill them now. I probably could have done that yesterday, but I didn't. I did other things. John says, I don't care what you work on. It only took many lives, not years, in a good way. Although, as fast as you crochet, I am tempted to send you one of my projects. Yeah, when I'm crocheting, not on camera. Like when I'm on the couch and I've got my feet up and I'm in very non-ergonomic position, I crochet quite quickly. But when I'm crocheting here, where I'm watching the chat and watching the technology and sitting at a table like a proper lady, then I will slow down a little. I've got other focuses. Whereas when I'm sitting on the lounge, I've got something playing. I've been in a bit of this week I finished off Criminal Minds. So I've watched season 16, which is Criminal Minds Evolution, which is the reboot, which I enjoyed. I know not everybody has been enjoying it, but I enjoyed it. And then I've been watching I watched a really, look, it was probably meant to be a kids movie. I don't care. It's called The School of Good and Evil, I think. I really enjoyed it. Might have been my frame of mind that day. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And Mortal Engine, which is another one that I was just like, it'd been on my list of like, check this out, but I hadn't. So I watched that too. Got those done while I was working on something. So enjoyed both of those. I have not, John, just so you know, I'm behind in Strange New World. I've still got to catch up. Look, there's a couple of people who will give me their goodie bag, like their loot items when they arrive at retreat. So aside from those, oh my God, I saw a smallish single pedal spinning wheel at a local shop here. It's been advertised on their Facebook for over 6 months. And literally an hour after it was sold and you missed out. I'm not quite sure. So it had been for sale for 6 months, and then someone beat you by an hour. That's my takeaway from that. Sal says, I've seen The School of Good and Evil. It was a good movie. Yeah, I thought it was a solid movie. I really did. It's definitely open for a sequel with that end scene, but yeah. I've seen some promo for it, and I love the look of the promo for it. One of the things I actually really appreciate about it is that they've used, now I'm not sure if it's the case for both, like for everybody, but in the case of Boimler, they used the actual actor who's voicing his character in the cartoon version as the actor, because he's a good actor. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I nearly changed channel when it started with the cartoon. It was not bad. Yeah, Lower Decks is great. Apparently, there's a big push to have Disney pull their heads out of their butts and bring back Prodigy, which I watched the first season of, because I was like, somewhere in socials it was like, hey, this is being deleted, if you want to watch this, get in and watch it now. So I jumped in and watched it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really enjoyed that. It was a really different premise, but it was great, and I'm really actually extra sad now because that was lined up for another season. And yeah, but apparently the producers of it are shopping it around. So maybe someone else will pick it up. I really hope. I really, really hope. Let me see. I was at the Comic-Con and was able to see the crossover episode. It was really good. Did you watch the new animated Babylon 5 movie that they did a pre-release at Comic-Con? Because never before have I been so jealous of something being pre-released at Comic-Con. Because, yeah, I followed J. Michael Straczynski on Twitter, and he's been talking about it. And you can pre-order it in the US, but you can't pre-order it in Australia yet. And I'm just like, grr. So I really want that. And apparently they're re-releasing a box set of digitally mastered and 4K altered Babylon 5. And I'm looking at my old dingy box sets back in the day when they did the box sets in those fold out flippy cardboard things that fall apart and your discs fall out. And I'm like, do I want the box set in the 4K? Probably I do. Yeah, I'll save up for that. Hopefully it sticks around for a little bit, because I don't know if I'll be able to get it straight away. But yeah, definitely on the list as well, because I am a sci-fi nerd, if you haven't worked that out. Definitely a sci-fi nerd. So, and even some fantasy, not all the fantasy, but some fantasy. And look, you know what? I even don't mind a little bit of dystopian future sci-fi. I'm okay with that too. John says I didn't like the 3D animation style of that Prodigy uses. Yeah, look, I think they wanted it to look different to Lower Decks, and that was the easiest way to make it look different. Oh yes, I'm talking the Star Trek cartoon Prodigy. Yes, thank you. So, and you are right, there are quite a few movies with the name Prodigy in it. I'm sorry for the non-clarification there. Bianca avoids dystopias. Look, I have to be in the mood for them. I definitely prefer like a Star Trek future where there's like, we've grown above war and all that kind of crap. Whereas the dystopia is like, okay, the world went to crap, and we've had to adjust our lives so that we can survive as a race. Kind of like Mortal Engines was a bit like that. Like, it looked really steampunky, and at first I thought, oh, this is going to be fantasy. And then I realized it's actually like a mash of fantasy dystopian future. Like, I was just like, oh, cool. Kathy has been watching City Homicide. Is that the one filmed in Sydney? I think it is. Still watching Manifest. I don't think I've watched any Manifest yet. I'll have to have a look. I've been like, my brain, because I've been trying to get work on stuff, so I've been watching reruns of things. But this last week, I've actually gotten a bit bored. So I've been watching some new things, but more like a movie rather than a series. Except for Criminal Minds, which was the season 16 stuff was all new, but I knew the characters, It's different. It's different, right? It's got to be different. Man, I have to say, I've been working with some other yarn for a Secret Squirrel project, which I'll be able to announce next week. And this feels just so different. It's like neither of them are better or worse than the other, but this just feels different. So, yeah. I haven't started the new Witcher season yet either. I don't know what I'm going to do because my brain's like, we know it's the season 3, but now there's talk that it's actually going to be the final season because with the actors and the writers strike, it's actually slowed down production to a point where they may just can it. I hope they don't, even though I'm not a fan of replacing a lead like that. Yeah. Yeah, Aspen. Like Aspen Maywood says, I'm been sick and stressed lately, so I'm going back through my emotional support Downton Abbey. For me, my emotional support shows a Star Trek Next Generation, Babylon 5, and Hallmark Christmas movies. Any, I don't care. So yeah, I tend to, like when I'm sick, that and Midsummer Murders is another one that I like to toss in the mix there. When I'm sick or unwell or sad or anything like that, like just emotional or drained, that's what I do. That's what I do. And my husband would be like, haven't you seen this before? Haven't you seen this so much that you know exactly what they're going to say when they walk in this door? And it's just like, yeah, kind of the point. Don't need any surprises right now. Thanks. I've just realised I'm leaning forward very muchly. Yeah. Yeah, if Manifest is on network TV, they might be getting season 5 over there, and we won't get season 5 on Netflix until they decide to release it. That's kind of usually how it works. I watched it the other day, enjoyed it, but don't like the idea of them using a different person for The Witcher. Yeah, like I think make a new character. Like I got no qualms with bringing in a new lead, but don't replace that character with a totally different actor. Like different statures, different everything. Like totally different human. So yeah. Oh, Shannon, hers of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yes. Um, John O'Brien says his emotional support media is real genius. Angela watches cult documentaries. We've all got our thing that when we're just feeling not that, then we just have our emotional support content. There's nothing wrong with it. Unless it makes you wallow harder, then there might be a problem. But if it just helps you to process and move along, Chantelle, the absolutely non-qualified psychologist who knows nothing about psychology, thinks that should be okay. Just to throw that out there. Please see a real psychologist. They may have another opinion. They're like, please don't wallow in emotional support content. I have a few shows to watch that is in the new season. Sweet Tooth, Sweet Magnolia, and Witcher. Oh my gosh, The Last Starfighter. Ah, that is a cult classic. That I loved. The Last Starfighter, and Flight of the Navigator was the other one that I really liked. But The Last Starfighter was such a cool movie. Oh, I understand now, Susanna. I understand. That's pretty much where I thought it was going. Yes, it had been for sale for 6 months. You finally decided I'm taking that. You go in and you find out, whoop, it sold an hour ago. Dolores says, my emotional support series is McLeod's Daughters. I watched it so much as my health deteriorated a few years back that my kids could tell which episode it was when it started. Oh my gosh. Game Widows, The Great Race movie, Our Princess Bride, and Embryos support movies. I know what you mean. Yeah, it does. It makes it frustrating when you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm doing this thing. That's like me with camera gear and stuff. Sometimes I wait so long and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And then they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, we don't have that one anymore. You can get this newer model for like $5,000 more. And you're just like, no, thanks. Thanks. I'm good. Aspen says my audiobook go-tos are alternating between Anna Karenina, and War and Peace. Wow, that's some seriously heavy books there. My audiobook go-to, which I listen to every night, helps me with my sleeping, is the what are they called? They're called the it's the Solar Clipper Ship series. What's the series called? I can't remember what the series is called. But each of the books is like quarter share, half share, full share, and it is what's it called? Trader Tales. It's the Trader Tales, and I have there's 5 books. I think there's 5 books in the series, and I just rotate through them. Have done for about the last 8 years. They just because I have to sleep in headphones. They turn off every 15 minutes, so if I fall asleep, they stop. I can't put new books on for my overnight sleeping because I stay awake to listen to it. Defeats the purpose. I also cannot put Trader Tales on while I'm driving the car. It makes me snoozy. So they are now my official going to sleep books. Um, but I really love like Felicia Day's how to be weird, like how to be weird on the internet. I love that one. I've had that one for a really long time. It was probably one of the first audiobooks I bought. So yeah, Midsummer Murders is good for when you're sick, I reckon. It's just a straight in bad guys, sort them out, find them, see Tom Barnaby or whichever Barnaby, run. Because if it's not 5 people around you that's dead, it's you. Um, I used to joke with my husband, if we ever go to the UK and I see Joyce Barnaby, we're just leaving. We're leaving the country. Because whatever group Joyce Barnaby joins, whatever town she visits, people die. She's like the omen. She's the omen of death. Um, are you sure it's not the voice of the reader that helps you sleep? Look, it could be. It's just the author reading it, to be honest, in this one. Um, it could it could be that. It could just be the fact that I'm a really light sleeper and any noise that I know I'm supposed to hear helps me to sleep. Like if I'm here by myself, I actually put the TV on and in our bedroom and just have it on like the lowest audio setting, which I can't hear. And then I go to sleep, and then my brain, like if there's a leaf skittering outside our bedroom window or something, which would normally wake me up, my brain will just put it down to the TV. So it's not until there's like a bigger noise, something that's not supposed to be there, that I'll wake up. Oh, the Expanse series, I'm really behind. I've only watched the first season. I've got the audio books and I haven't listened to them yet. I was tossing up whether or not to oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was tossing up whether to finish listening to the audiobooks or to watch the TV series first, but I figured they would not complement each other, kind of like the Witcher series and everything else that goes off books because they go off the book. It's really frustrating. You love the book, so you watch the show, and then you're like, this is not what I was expecting. Like, I really love the fact that they've made a Wheel of Time TV series. They've got 10 books to work with. No, 15 books to work with. And they've crammed a book and a half into like 6 episodes. And you're just like, there's so much you could have done. And this is what you did. I mean, it's all right. It's good. But if you've read the books, you're going to be like, what? Yeah, I get frustrated. It's like, if you love the book so much that you want to make a show out of it, make the show. Don't just be inspired by the book. I watched a it's a Robert Heinlein book. It's about bugs on Earth. Starship Troopers, right? I actually was like, oh, this is going to be a heavy, heavy movie because the book is like a military, like drama sci-fi thing, right? The movie was such a total. There's a word I want to use, but I'm not going to use it. The only things that were the same as the books was the name of the movie, the description of some of the bugs, and how they transported to the planets. Nothing else was like the book. So yeah, I really have to take it with a grain of salt. I really do. So yeah. I need to get audiobooks as I have a hard time actually reading books without falling asleep. Look, you know what? I love both. I love Dead Tree editions and I love audiobooks. I also don't mind digital books. I got no qualms with those either. I just think like absorb some content. That's how I think of it. Whether it's the audiobook, whether it's the dead, like whichever version, get in. Like, yeah. I read all the books in the Ender series. The movie was meh. I think part of it is when we read a book or listen to a book, our imaginations get engaged and we come up with how people look, how they sound, how they interact, their facial expressions, and we're not limited to technology, right? Like what's a realistic scene that could be shot. We're not limited to that in our brains. Our brains can do it all. In saying that, they're getting much better with the technology. They're able to do a lot more stuff with a lot less actual pyrotechnics and death. So, I think that's where our frustration lies, is that what our brains come up with is not similar to what the movie producer's brain came up with that the network or the company paying for it approved. Like, that's the catch, right? Just like you've got like the likes of Henry Cavill getting annoyed with the writers of the Witcher series because they took too many liberties. They changed too much stuff up, and the reason he signed on to it is because he loves the books and loves the author. So, yeah. Anyway, I mean, this is a rabbit hole. This is like, let's just add this to the list of crap that Chantelle gets annoyed about. That was a 1 that we had there, wasn't it? Yeah. Agreed. Books are almost always better than the movie or TV series. Like prime example of like one that probably a lot of people have seen is Bones, the TV series, versus the Temperance Brennan books. Not Kathy Reich's books, I should say. They took some serious liberties. Now, in saying that, I quite like the TV series and I quite like the books. But I watched the series first and then went to the books. And I had to think of them as totally separate IP because they did not match in my brain at all. They did not, nothing matched. But I liked the series and I enjoyed it and watched it and, watched all of it. So, yeah. It's dice roll time, everybody. Put in which colour you think you would like to see.
Roll the dice to choose the next colour.
One of the advantages, Bianca, with the Good Omens is you've got the author actually involved in the series. In saying that, so did the Bones TV series. They had the author involved as well. And Holly, again, I read the what's her name, Greenwood, who's the author of the Franny Fisher Mysteries. I read a few of hers, and again, they did it differently. They They took some liberties as usual, but yeah. Look, and I love Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, and I love the movie Crypt of Tears. I'm really glad they made that. If you haven't seen the movie, you need to watch the end of season 3 and then move on to that one, and you can thank me later. Alrighty. Kerry Greenwood. Thank you, Game Widows. I knew it was a Greenwood something. Alright, let's roll. It's a 6. It's a 6. Yay! I'm actually really happy for this colour. FYI. I'm happy for this one. Okay. Oops. I was doing something with that. We'll just pull that out. Okay. Sue Ellen has made it to the chat. Great to see you, Sue Ellen. Kathy Bryce says, I listened to some of the Temperance Brennan books and didn't like the narrator. Look, I'll be honest with you. I find that a lot. I listen to some books and I'm like, nope, I'm out. And it's the narrator, and then I'll read the book itself. Like I'll read a Dead Tree edition or like a Kindle version, and I'll enjoy the book. I just couldn't enjoy the writer. I couldn't enjoy the voice. I feel that way about what's it called? Outlander series. All my friends were like, "Oh, Chantelle, you should totally listen to Outlander. It's like it's awesome, blah 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 blah." A, it's not my cup of tea, but B, it sounds like my nana. Honestly, she sounds like my nana sound, and it was weird listening to her describe some scenes. And I was like, I'm out. Bye, Nana. Sorry. I haven't heard of the Bones podcast, but I'm not surprised it exists. I only have a few podcasts that I listen to that aren't YouTube or business related, and they are mostly supernatural podcasts, I'll be honest. Supernatural Then and Now, and also The Kings of Con, which is, while it's not technically about supernatural, it's by a couple of supernaturals. I have not yet started, but I intend to start listening to the Shuttle Pod, which is what are their names? It's two guys out of the Enterprise crew. I can picture their faces, but I can't say their names. But yeah, I've got to listen to more podcasts. That's the thing. I need more time for listening to things. I also need to edit some podcasts. I've got 2 podcasts to edit, and they need to be done. Yeah. Oh, nice. We're getting the colours that haven't been used in a while. Jim Dale should narrate every book. I love Jim Dale. My girls refused to watch the Twilight series because it was nothing like the book to them. Look, I tried reading the Twilight books and it felt like badly written fan fiction. I feel the same way about 50 Shades of Grey. Badly written fan fiction. So, sorry. I think I'll watch season 2 of Good Omens next. Neil Gaiman is really active over on the Blue Sky app, and he's funny to listen, like to read. He just like he is quite vocal about things. It's kind of cool. Thank you, John. Dominic Keating and Connor Trinier. Yes, those 2 guys. They run it, and I've watched some short clips of it, but I just mean, I just need to sit down and listen to like entire episodes. The Bones podcast is Temperance and Daisy rewatching and reflecting on the show. I've not listened, but my daughter is so excited to start it. Yeah, like that's kind of like the Supernatural podcast, the Supernatural Then and Now. You've got 2 of the actors, so the guy who played Gabriel and the guy who played Chuck God. They are watching the episodes quite often for the first time because they weren't in every episode and they didn't watch all the episodes they were in. And they will bring on, they'll do like a talk about how they felt when they watched it and stuff, but they also bring on guests. So half of the episode is sort of like what they thought of the episode and stuff like that. And then the other half of the episode could be they might have gotten the director of photography in, or they may have gotten in one of the other actors in that episode, or the makeup lady, or, you know, like someone relevant to the episode. And sometimes you just like, because I thought, oh man, listening to a makeup lady is like, or a set designer is like, yay, that's going to be thrilling. But it was actually really awesome, like learning about some of the behind the scenes stuff you just had zero idea of. 50 Shades was Twilight fan fiction. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think they really need to make a bigger series out of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, just in my opinion. I don't know what that is. I'll have to have a look. I think Neil had said in honor of Terry he wouldn't allow them to do Good Omens unless they did it correctly. Yeah, I think, like, this is the thing, right? You've got to respect the original content, respect the IT. Blue Sky is an app that's kind of like Twitter. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's actually being created by one of the original Twitter creators, without all of the musky influence. It's new. It's invite only. And it's really hard to get invite codes to give people. You get like one every few weeks. It's really slow. It's only about 100,000 people in there, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting place. And it's because it's a bit more I'm gonna use the word intimate, even though it's like 100,000 people. It's not intimate, because it's a little more intimate. Some of the like actors and the biggest stars, like Neil Gaiman and John Scalzi and these other authors that I absolutely love, then they're a little more free in what they're saying than what they might put on other socials, which seems weird because it's just another social. Sal says it's a vampire series, but definitely just for adults. Okay. I'm hit and miss with the vampire movie things. I don't get into most of them. In saying that, I loved Vampire Academy, which was just dumb. It's not so much exclusive. They're just trying not to screw it up at the start. A lot of places start off as invite only. Clubhouse was invite only to start with. And they actually had, like, with Clubhouse, they had these rules that if someone you invited was a douche and got kicked out of Clubhouse, you got kicked out as well. So it really made people stop and think who they invited. So yeah, it's been, Blue Sky's been around for a little while. There's some people that have been there a long time. I've only just recently gotten an invite. So I'm probably not the best person to talk about it. But I enjoy reading over there. I don't post so much, but I definitely enjoy reading over there. It does feel a little like there's a few big voices, but that's just a case of it's new and they're still working out how to make the feeds good, if that makes sense. I just discovered Terry Pratchett this year and love his writing. So many good Terry Pratchett stories. Bianca says, I got my Gmail account back when it was invite only. Yeah, I was in the beta for Gmail. And yeah, a lot of things start as invite only or like low limits, because they need to keep an eye on the data. A lot of it comes down to how much server space have they got. Like, you know, you've got the likes of Instagram that opened up threads to the world and had something like 50 million accounts created in 4 hours or something like that. But it was because they were using their existing infrastructure, and they opened it up when they did. Threads has been worked on now behind the scenes for at least 6 months that I'm aware of. But because Twitter was just becoming this massive dumpster fire, Meta was just like, I'm going to jump in and give people an alternative. And people are loving the alternative. Like, there's some definite restrictions and limitations. And even the guys heading Threads were like, look, we hadn't actually intended to be public just yet. So there are some things that we want to have that we don't have ready yet. So, you know, follow this account, and when things are updated, we'll let you know. So, you know, they weren't quite ready, but they opened the floodgates. one of the things that is an issue for a lot of people is right now, if you create a Threads account, while you can stop using it or disable it, you can't delete it, because if you delete your Threads account, you delete your Instagram account. And it's because how they've integrated Threads into Instagram so they could open it up when they did. But they are looking at how to separate the two, because that was not their intention. That was not the plan. But to open it when they did, that's all that they could do. It's actually technically part of your Instagram. So yeah. But yeah, so like there's a lot of softwares and platforms have like betas, and I would consider Blue Sky in beta, which is why it's invite only. So, but there's lots of alternate Twitter options out there. I know Mastodon's one. There's quite a few. There was another one that I joined. What was it called? And everyone was like going there, and it's like, oh my god, this is the best. Blah 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 blah. And then it was dead. I joined everything through. Oh, and I do as well, John. If I can join on something, just to reserve Fiberific and my name, I'll jump in and do it. So, just for those reasons. Oh, yeah, it's X now. You're right. Yeah, it's weird. I'm just going to throw away 17 years worth of brand recognition on this dummy. Mind you, everyone's talking about it. Everyone in tech world is a flutter. They're a flutter. Keeping an eye on what's he going to do next. It's a bit scary. It is a dumpster fire. Yeah, it was a bit like that. Like you do a phone update, your phone updates all the apps, and you're like, hang on a second, what is this? And like on my phone, like I'll show you my homepage, right? TikTok's black and white, Patreon's black and white, Threads is black and white, and now Twitter or X is black and white, and you're just like, oh god. I mean, I could split them up. I could, but I was like, they match. I'll put them all together. So, oh, what am I doing? I'm not doing that. That's wrong. Don't do that. We're just doing single crochets in the front loop across, and we are nearly done with this row. Yeah. Black and white is the new blue. Yeah, possibly. Because there's a lot of icons that had blue, sort of LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm sure others. Which reminds me, I need to change the color of the background of my. I've got like a link in bio page, and I made the backgrounds of the links the same color as the branding on the channel. You're not single, but Hinge is white and black. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming Hinge is a dating app. I have no idea. Zero idea. Because I got married before dating apps were a thing. Or at least dating apps as we currently know them were a thing. Because I'm old, compared to some people. Oh, don't split the stitch. We are nearly at the end. Dun, 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 dun. So the other day, my daughter was walking around the house singing a little tune to herself, just a made-uppy tune of what she was off to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's insane. Where did she get that from? Only to realise that's exactly what I do. And my husband was laughing because he's like, you do the same thing. I know exactly what you're up to based on the tune you're singing. Yes?
I'm going out like this to get the key cut and drop it off to Lily's house.
Okay. You couldn't just give her your key? Sorry, guys. Hang on a sec. Macy cat. Yeah, she could come down here. It's probably easier. Oh, she's caught. She's caught on the microphone. Don't step on the microphone, Macy. ASMR cat purrs.
It's ASMR, you need to be quiet. Do it again.
Alright, you can take her.
Okay, bye everyone.
Thanks. Sorry. What a purr. Absolutely. No, there's cat hair. God. Yes, she definitely has a purr on her. Oh, you sang about drinking your fancy cocktail once, my friend. I do it all the time. I will just be like, I'm off to make a coffee because coffee is awesome, and if I want to think and I want to use my brain, I'll need the coffee. And it's kind of like an elf style random stream of consciousness song, right? It's so dumb. It's dumb. But she's started doing I actually think she's been doing it for some time, but I've just realized that she's doing it. I'm like, oh, whoops, sorry. And when I was in Sydney many, many years ago, and I used to live there, and we used to have dinner with friends all the time. One of my friends was just like, he's handed me the butter. He's like, are you going to hum your buttering your bread song? And I'm like, what? And everyone was like, yeah, you have a song that you hum every time you're buttering bread. And I was just like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, is it the same song every time? And they're like, uh-huh. And it wasn't until I started buttering the bread that I was like, oh, yeah, I know the song now. But if I think about it, I can't do it. Oh, yeah. Look, she is so cute and she has so many purrs. I sat down the other day. She was just like laying in Louie's bed having a victory purr because she kicked him out and she's laying in it. And she purred for ages. So I just had my phone just sitting right next to her. I just recorded like a minute of her purr for me to listen to while I'm away because I find her purring calming and relaxing. Yeah. I parody random songs as I go. Oh, there you go. I mean, I just make up. Mine aren't even that tuneful most of the time. They did what? Boom, Lifetime Band. I mean, you could probably create your account again, John, if you really want to, because a lot of people with Lifetime bands have had their bands lifted by a particular individual. Aspen Maywoods, absolutely. I have songs that just, like, if I'm walking from the lounge room to the bathroom, I have songs announcing where I'm going. I don't even know how to say that out loud. But I do realize that I have to not do it when there's guests. I'll go and just walk quietly. But I don't normally parody. I mean, I think sometimes I'm using the tune of another song. I think sometimes Batman gets a good run. So yeah. It is. Yeah. It kind of makes me think of, like, have you guys seen Red Dwarf, where the cat is like sneaking into Lister's room to go and eat Lister's fish? I'm gonna eat your little fishy. I'm gonna eat you. And then, yeah, it's kind of like that, where you're just sort of like walking around on your way somewhere, thinking about what you're going to be doing, except the thinking comes out. I try really hard to not do it in company. Oh, you guys, you've learned way too much about me in these live streams. Bye, John. Have an awesome day. Yeah, Red Dwarf's amazing. Apparently, we need to keep our eyes peeled because Naylor and Grant have done some sort of arrangement and agreement, and there's some content coming. I don't know what kind of content. I don't want to get my hopes up because I love Red Dwarf. The fish song with me. Yep. Oh, you did sing it along with me. Yep. Thank you. I don't feel alone. You guys are amazing. Oh, John says my email and phone number are blocked. That's a shame. So you can't even join with like a second email because you've got the same phone number. Yeah, they put something on Twitter. Doug Naylor put something on Twitter about it. That is hot honey water topping up the honey water in my cup because I got cold again. Okay, back to Flamingo. Where are we at time-wise? So Abby was like, because we're going to have one of her friends, house sitting for us while I'm away at retreat, because Abby and Tim are also away. And Abby was like, oh, I'm just going to get her a key cup, blah, 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 blah. And I went, you can't just give her your key and then use Dad's key while we're away, or give her. And she was just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. Oh, dear. Oops. One. And then she had the cat with her, and so then the cat came to live stream with us. Next week will be an interesting live because there'll be nobody home. It'll be back to like the old when school run was a thing, like the house. I have the house to myself. So it'll be interesting. I'm either going to go insane because I'm not used to being by myself for that long anymore, or I'm going to be really sad when they come home because I'll be like, oh, I got to have like a remote and my chair and just do stuff when I wanted and leave stuff out. Although I probably still can't because the cats will just push it off the table, because cats are butt faces. Seriously. Oh yeah, Sal, I figured you would probably be off humaning with humans. So yeah, having a good time. Because humaning is awesome. Sometimes. Sometimes it's not, and sometimes I don't want to. Quite often, I don't want to. Be like, I have to leave the house. There's people out there. I train my cat not to jump on the table, water, spray bottle. Francis, I've done the same, right? So for the most part, cats are fine. But for some reason, whenever I am blocking something, they're back. Maybe not Macy. Macy hasn't seen me block anything yet. But Tibbles, he's just like, what's up? Oh, you have that. I shall come and lay upon it and give it my approval. And also, if I seem to be working on something for any sort of extended period of time, when I leave the table, say go to bed or whatever, if I've left stuff out, like if I'm working on a jigsaw puzzle, they just come in and just jump up on the table and just push everything on the floor. And I'm sure they do it in about 14 seconds and they're off. Angela says, I'm such a ball of nerves right now. I haven't been to Gen Con in over 10 years. Oh my gosh. You are going to have a blast. You've done what am I saying? You've done Comic-Con recently. It'll be a different feel, but it's same at the same time. You're going to love it. You're going to love it so much. Oh, see, Francis, normally they do it while I'm asleep is the problem. So I wake up and come out and find all my things on the floor. So they wait. They wait until I definitely can't spray them because I am zonked out somewhere. And then I wake up and find all my possessions trashed. It's quite vicious, I think. Apparently it's not vicious. Apparently cats don't have malintent. Lies. That's lies. Cats have malintent. Maybe not Macy because she's a bit adorable right now. But Tibbles definitely has malintent. Jazzy most certainly had malintent. She was quite happy to knock your stuff off and smile about it afterwards. I swear she smiled afterwards. I know some people like cats can't smile. Yeah, they can. They can smirk. Cats are brats that way. Yes, they are. Absolute brats. That's the best word. Cats are malintent personified. That comment. Right there, Aspen May. Put it up here. There we go. Malintent personified. Yes. And vets are like, oh no, they do stuff because they're stressed, or they do. No, how are my cats stressed, right? They're treated like royalty. They get everything they want, pretty much. They get all the good food. There's plenty of water. They're not chased by big dogs or animals. They're looked after. They've got comfy, warm, sunny spots to sleep in. So, I don't know what their problem is. I think they're just ornery and just outright grizzle grumps. And they're like, oh, you left something on the table that you want there for in the morning, did you now? Ha ha ha. Well then, you shall find it elsewhere. Boof. I remember one time my mum was pet sitting, and we've got up high benches that we feed the cats on so the dogs wouldn't eat their food, right? And my mum's rung me, and she was just like, hey, is Jazzy always grumpy? And I was like, oh, not always. What happened? And Mum's like, well, I went in to feed the cats and I fed Tibbles first. And I'm like, well, there's your problem. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you should have fed Jazzy first. She's like, well, I've learnt that now. I'm like, what did Jazzy do? Jazzy liked a big water bowl. Like if you gave her a little water bowl, she didn't like it. Big water bottle. So her water bowl held about 1 litre of water, or like, I don't know what that is. No idea. Anyway, so about 1 litre of water when it was topped up. And Jazzy pushed it off the bench full, and water went everywhere. So Mum had her back to the cat, was feeding the other cat because they were on opposite benches, feeding the other cat. And Jazzy, apparently, Mum's partner saw her do it because he was facing her because, kitchen benches. And Jazzy just used her paw and just pushed it off the bench, and then just sat there and looked at Mum. It was like, feed me now? And I'm like, please tell me you cleaned up the water before you fed her. And Mum's like, oh, no, I had the food out, so I dropped a scoop in, and I was like, oh dear. And Mum was like, why? And I said, because tomorrow it's going to be extra worse if you don't feed her first. And I was just, so Mum's like mopping the floor, and she's like, why does a cat have such a big water bowl? And I'm like, because she likes a big water bowl, Mum. It's either that or she drinks out of the toilet. They're the options. If you give her a smaller water bowl, you just find her in the toilet all the time. Because she was a weird cat. She was wonderful, but also weird. She's gone now. But she was a lunatic who was also funny. And I'm worried that Macy, who is currently a lunatic and funny, is going to become haughty and nasty. Maybe not, because she's a ginger girl. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how they think about it. That's a nice, literally anything you've got there. Be a shame if someone knocked it off the edge of the surface you left it on. Yeah. Absolutely. Cats. Still like them. Still went and got another one. Still currently have 2. Tibbles is a funny cat. He goes through these weird moods, and I think it's like anything with any animals, where, 1 week he won't want to be anywhere near you, and then the next week he won't leave you alone, right? So yesterday he spent the day sitting next to me wherever it was that I was working. So there's a table just over here with an hoodie on it, and he slept on that all day. And then when I went out to the lounge room, he went and slept on the arm of the couch that I was sitting on. And last night when I went to go to bed, I've gone to get comfy, right? Snuggle in. Next thing you know, there's this 6-kilo weight in stilettos stomping up my body, and he's just planted himself right on my chest. And I'm just like, I cannot breathe with you there. You need to move. And every time I tried to roll, he just held on. And I was just like, I eventually had to sit up, stand up, remove the cat from the bed, and shut the door. Because he was just like, no, I am sleeping on you. I'm like, far out, dude. You're too heavy. You're too heavy on my little poor lungs of repairing themselves. But yes. And I swear Louis laughed at him. He was just like, ha ha, you've been kicked out. I'm still in here. Because Louis doesn't try to sleep on you. He's quite happy just to be in the room. We are getting close to the end of this row. My cat will go out of its way to put himself directly under my feet while I'm walking, but gets under the other foot, so I trip over him, so I end up tripping on him multiple times. Oh, that's an art form that cats have. Yesterday, I accidentally, and it truly was an accident, stepped on Macy's tail, right? Except I was standing in here talking to Abby, and I took a step back because Abby was trying to get into one of these drawers. And I didn't realize Macy was there. And I've stepped back, and I must have just stood on her tail, like just enough, like, you know, in the arch of your foot where it's actually like the tail's under your foot, but actually there's no weight on it. Anyway, so I've stepped on her tail, and I'm just standing there. Can't feel her tail under my foot kind of thing. And next thing you know, she's eating my foot, like, get off my tail. So I'm like, oh, sorry, Macy. Well, then for the rest of the night, I swear to God, every time I went to put my foot down, her tail was right there. And I'd look at her and she'd be like, yeah, you're going to step on that? You're going to step on it? I'd be like, oh, geez, Macy. So I'd pick her up and carry her around the house so that I didn't step on her. That could have been the plan. That may have been what she wanted. I don't know. She's a psycho. Ginger psycho. With such an adorable purr. Oh, how's everyone's projects going? Are you getting some rows in? I have not had the chance to swatch this yarn to see if it's going to work for that sweater that I was going to test out at retreat. So I haven't done that. And I've also found another project that I want to frog. So I'm thinking of taking my ball winder to retreat so that I can frog it. Yeah. Or just save it for here and just take projects I actually want to work on. I don't know. I will decide later on when I work out how much space I've got. Oh my goodness, Kathy. 46 hats since July 1st. That is crazy. Angela took a craft break just so she could chat. That's awesome, Angela. Thank you for being in the chat and keeping me company. Aspen says, I'm still working on my squares. I think this is 126. 1 week to go. What was your goal again? It was like, was it 150 or 130? I can't remember. Diana E., welcome to the chat. It's so good to see you here today. I'm doing another pair of socks on the sock machine. Oh, I was thinking of you. I was in a Facebook group and some lady I can't remember which group, but she'd bought herself a knitting machine and was disappointed that she couldn't make socks on it. And it's like, oh, does anyone have a suggestion for one of these sorts of knitting machines for socks? And I was just like, oh, honey, you're going to need one of these sort of machines. And you're not going to get any change out of a couple of grand. And she was so disappointed. But yeah, I was just like, you've got to get the old ones. So they're rare. So, like There's someone I found like a Kickstarter or like a prepay thing where someone's creating like a plasticky version of a sock knitting machine with like different inserts for the different sizes, and but it's still going to be $500, for the basic package. And then they're plastic. They're not even metal. Jance is casting on an Aura cabin shawl. Nice work. Aspen's aiming for 150. Oh, you've got this. Come on. You've got it. Knitspin Girls is working on a surprise blankie for a friend. Crochet tartan in hawthorn, yellow and brown. Oh, cute. I'm hoping they actually go for hawthorn, because otherwise that's a troll gift if you make them a footy blanket in their team's nemesis's colours. Just putting that out there. Just double checking the intent. We've been dealing with some cats lately. If cats could crochet, that's what they'd do. They're like, oh, your favourite team is, Parramatta Eels. I'm making you Melbourne Storm colours. Because they trounce the Eels every time they play them. I know nothing about football. I just had 2 team names come in my head. I have no idea who beat who. That's it. It's the Jimmy Bean machine. It looks really interesting. And there's definitely a gap in the market. But yeah, it's still $500. And it's still from the US. So I think that's in US dollars. So that's more like $750 Australian. Yeah. Oh, a completely fanatical Hawthorn supporter. Okay, well then it's an appropriate gift. It'll actually be well loved, I'm sure, and well used. Oh, guys, update on my dad's blanket. Do you guys remember when I made Dad the Attic 24 fireside blanket? Well, apparently he loves it so much, because Dad travels a bit, that it's not living at his house. It's living in his car, so that wherever he goes to sleep, he's got it with him. And he's not using it as a knee blanket. He puts it over the top of his whatever blanket he is, wherever he's staying. He puts it on his bed. I was just like, really? And he's like, oh yeah, I love it. I love it a lot. And I was chatting with one of my aunties, and she's like, your dad is obsessed with that blanket, isn't he? And I'm like, which blanket? And she goes, the one you made him. And I was like, really? When I was Bendigo show, there was a few sock machine people, but they really didn't like the brand that I have, which I got from New Zealand. Hang on a second, that's moved. Hang on a second. When I was at Bendigo show, there was a few sock machine people, but they didn't really like the brand that I have, which I got from New Zealand. They like the ones from the US. Either way, they are lots of dollars. Yeah, they really are. But they're also one of those things that if you keep it in good repair, it will last forever. I am stumped with indecision. I have a jumper to crochet for my daughter, but need to dye the yarn first, and currently don't have an outside stove. I need to arrange wool for a possible shrug. Crochet shrug coat. Okay. Well, I mean, I used to dye in the house all the time. I still have to use my dye pots, and I put the air vent on. But if it's one batch, I can't see why you couldn't dye that inside. As long as you ventilate the area. Otherwise, when you say arrange for the yarn, does that mean you need to go yarn shopping? Because that's what I mean when I say arrange for the yarn. And then here we go. There's a workshop in New Zealand that make new sock machines off the old plans, but it's still dollars. Yeah, and in the realms of thousands, not hundreds. So, and I love that they're using the old plans, because the old plans were good. There was nothing wrong with them. Landscape dyes inside, okay, yeah. Like, you think about all the dye houses, like the commercial dyers, they do everything inside. Like even La Bien Amie, who are a indie dyer, they dye inside. So as long as you have ventilation, You've got your safety gear on. You're using your dyeing saucepans. You can use your stovetop heat. You can totally do it, but just make sure you've got your ventilation going. That's the biggest thing. You need to make sure your ventilation's going. If you've got powder dyes that you need to mix, I would possibly stand outside to mix those so you've got a bit better. But once they're liquid form, you're good. You're good to go. But yeah, and just maybe don't make a habit of it. But this is one project and you can totally do it. But my first 2 or 3 years of dyeing, I utilised my kitchen stovetop. But just remember the powders stain your benches really fast. Glad wrap all your benches. Just in case, like even a little speckle that's in the air that you don't even realise. But yeah. And ventilation will be your friend. There you go. Just have good ventilation. Sally says that she had the back door open when she did it. Absolutely. Like if you've got doors or windows that you can open, do it. I know it's cold, but for the half an hour or so, or the hour that you need to actually have it on the heat, you'll be good. You'll be good. All right. Sunday is dyeing day now. Excellent. Alrighty, so where are we at for time? Yeah, we can do another dice roll. Dice roll. It's dice roll.
Dice roll time. Roll the dice to choose the next colour.
It's dice roll. Okay. Into the chat.
Roll the
What
dice
colour
to
you think we
choose
should
the
do
next
next? There we go. There's some colours for you to see that we've done. We've got a dice roll. We've got this dice. We're going to use this one. Dinah says, I've had a request for 10 amigurumi bumblebees for a preschool classroom. 5 done, half down. Nice work. Good job, Diana. And the kids are going to love them. They're absolutely going to love them. I'm going to have a sip of my drink while you guys decide what colour I'm going next. Well, you're not deciding. You're letting me know what you'd like. The dice will decide. See, look. Sharp, clear. Blurry. Sharp. But see, it does my head in. You guys may not even notice it, but it does my head in every time because I can see it. Alrighty, you got some numbers in. Let's roll it. Let's see what we're going to get. We have a 2. Morpho. That's a nice bright colour. Morpho is one of the colours that I used to knit Abby's beanie in. Are you guys, I'm going to be really honest. I showed my daughter an absolute pile of yarn, right, to colour choices for her to make her beanie. She wanted this yarn because of how it felt, this colour. Am I the only one who feels weird about making beanies and stuff out of acrylic? I was like, yeah, but I've got this wool. It's a similar colour. She's like, doesn't feel the same. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's because it's wool. It's better. It's better. It'll be better. She's wearing it in the snow. It'll keep her head warm. She's like, no, I want this one. And so, I mean, it's what she wanted. I made it in the acrylic. But I'm just like, it just felt weird to me. Is that just me? All my beanies are wool or wool blends. I don't know. It could just be me. Aspen got it. She did. She always wants the blue. The little blue heart floats up each time she is choosing a colour, and we got it. It's been a few rows since we've had the blue. The last blue was back there, but then the blue before that was all the way down here. So blue's another one we don't get enough of. Oh, Angela usually does use acrylic for beanies. Oh, there you go. Okay. Maybe it is just me. Bianca's mainly used acrylic for beanies. Okay. Well, I'm feeling better about it now because I just felt, I don't know, off somehow. That me, the yarn woman, made my daughter a beanie in acrylic. I mean, it was exactly what she wanted and the colours she wanted and she chose it, but I still felt bad. So maybe I can feel less bad. Dolores makes her beanies in wool. I just figure because it's cold, you want the breathability and the warmth of the wool, but Abby wanted this. I mean, I don't blame her. It feels so nice, honestly. Alison says it depends on who you're making the beanie for. Well, and this was the thing. This was a beanie requested by Abby for Abby in these particular colours in this yarn. So that's why I did it. Francis says, I prefer wool regardless of the use. I don't like acrylic because it's basically plastic. Look, it really is basically plastic. I do think there is a place for acrylic. I use acrylic for some things, but I definitely prefer working with wool and cotton. Knitspin Girl says, I only use acrylic for beanies for charity. Yeah, if I'm making a beanie for if I'm making anything for somebody, I always consider the person. Like Dad's blanket, it's acrylic and he knows it's acrylic, but it's totally machine washable and he can care for it easily. So that's why I went with that one. I had to go buy another storage container for my wool and wool blend yarns because I wanted to have breathing room. Oh, Kathy says, I do acrylic, but we'll also use wool and wool blends. Okay. You guys are awesome. You know how to make me feel better. Dolores is taking it back. I have made baby beanies from baby yarn. That was acrylic. Yeah. Bianca says, I like cotton best for our weather. See, and that's the thing as well. Like for Queensland, it's subtropical. It gets quite humid. I don't like wearing polyester, let alone making something out of acrylic for myself to wear. But you have to consider the giftee. I prefer natural fibres for everything, but if I'm making it for a special person, I'll check what they prefer. Well, this was Abby's definite preference. Kids stuff, I use acrylic or cotton. It has to be able to make it through the washer and dryer. That's how I felt about making something for my dad. Yeah. Alison says, I did a hand spun merino knitted beanie for my uncle. Later found out he shrunk it, so now it looks like a golf club cover. He will definitely get acrylic one next time. Dolores, have an awesome one. Thanks for dropping in. But yeah, no, it's definitely, you've got to consider the purpose and the person. And that's why I made it anyway. I'll tell you what, this yarn knits up nicely. Lovely stitch definition. I'd go and get it, but I don't know where she has it. Abby's packing for her ski trip. So it's probably tucked in there somewhere. I made a tunic in acrylic and it's too hot for me to wear most of the time. Yeah, I could see that. We are creeping to the end of the road. I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch today. What are you guys going to have for lunch or dinner or the next meal? Give me some ideas. I mean, I've got some options, but they're all boring. They're boring options, and I want better options. I'll tell you what. On Monday morning, I'll be doing a little grocery shop of all my favourite foods that I like to make for myself that my family don't like, because I'll be away for a week and I will get to have soup. I can have soup for dinner. I'm going to make some soup and I'm going to do some other stuff too. Jen Homewood is in the house dropping in the food, leftover risotto and salad. I love risotto so much. I just love risotto, like well-made risotto. We had salads for dinner tonight. Yep. It's because it's summer for you, isn't it? Yeah. I have some Mercy Valley cheese, so maybe that in a sandwich. Bianca's having soup. That's not fair. Francis is having mortadella in a roll with lettuce and tomato relish. Mortadella, is that, my brain won't even, is it a cheese or is it a meat? I don't know which one. Alison is having leftovers from last night, chicken and veggies. What did I make? No, there's no leftovers from our tea. I made sausages and mashed potato and veggies and gravy for dinner last night, and it all got numbed up. Num, 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 num. Shannon says, I made breakfast for dinner. One of my favourite things. Oh, I know. Scrambled eggs and bacon on a Turkish roll. I'm like, I know I've got Turkish bread in the fridge. Do I have any eggs? No, I'm out. That's on my shopping list. There's bacon. There is bacon in the fridge. It needs to be used this week. Aspen May's smoked salmon, avocado, eggs, Benny muffins for my daughter's birthday dinner pick. She had her tonsils out. Oh my goodness, that would be painful. Breakfast for dinner is totally awesome. I agree with you. I absolutely agree. Sally said I had baked beans with toast for dinner last night, so no leftovers. Do you know what? I love nice baked beans, and I tend to do crap to it, right? So I pop in some nice cheese and a good grind of pepper, crunchy toast, like some nice good quality bread. And every now and again I'll put an egg on top. Like I won't say no to baked beans. Aspen said then we had waffles with strawberries and cinnamon butter for her breakfast. That sounds lovely as well. I haven't had waffles in a really long time. And I have a waffle iron. I could legit make myself waffles. But, haven't. I saw a thing. What was it? It was grated. Oh, I want to say carrot. But I don't think it was grated carrot. It was grated something. Grated cheese and egg mixed up, cooked in a waffle iron. It was terrible. It was bad, but geez, it looked tasty. And the reason why it was making me think carrot is because the cheese was like that American orange cheese. I don't know what that's called. I call it American orange cheese. It's probably got a legit name. Breakfast for dinner. And I'm not talking no bowl of muesli with yogurt. If I'm having breakfast for dinner, it's a hot breakfast. It's bacon or eggs or something. Anyone tried tot waffles apart from me? Are they the potato tots that have been mushed in and then waffleized? Because I haven't tried it, but I've seen that, and that also looks amazing to me. I would eat that because I love potato gems or tater tots or whatever you want to call them. And so just making them smushed with extra crispy bits is just a bonus. It's all the wins because you get all the crispies. I love the crispy bits. See, I've seen it, haven't tried it. I also think it's interesting calling it a tot waffle because my mum used to call people a bad name sounding like that but sticking a W in there. A different W, not the waffle, like a TW waffle. And I think of that every time you've typed tot waffle now because that's where my brain goes. Thanks, Mum. Champion. I didn't realise that was in my head until right that moment. Yes. Should use that instead of like, what a silly person. That person's and then joke about that. Sue Ellen's off, got work meetings. It was so good for you to be able to jump in. It's been a little while. Have an awesome day. We are nearly at the end of this row. I will keep going till the end of it. And then throughout the week, I'll catch us up with the pink row for next week's live. Yeah. And for those coming, I will see you at the retreat tomorrow. It's tomorrow. We've been counting down the sleeps and there's one more sleep. And I've been working so hard to get better that I have been avoiding all peopling, all things that, exert my energy so that I can be ready for retreat. And I cannot wait. Jen's like, yay, retreat. Sal's like, see you tomorrow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's going to be amazing. We'll have to grab some photos. The retreat is going to be lovely. Leonie's going to look after us, and we don't have to think about food for the next 3 days or 2 days, 2.5, whatever. Dinner Friday night plus extras. It's going to be awesome. I love not cooking dinner. It's my favorite thing. Like growing up and stuff, when you're thinking about being an adult, realizing you had to plan and cook every single meal for the rest of your life was not high on the list. Yeah, I haven't been hitting any of my social Zooms or Caffeinated Crafters or any daytime meetups. I've just been focusing on getting better so that I can be as close to 100% for retreat as possible. And I am so excited to go and see humans that are not my immediate family. Early morning, then car pickup, meeting with Sal and Claire, and then fun times. Oh my gosh, yes. You guys are going to have the best time. Road trip. Alrighty, we are at the end. Oops, nope. Just trash that stitch. I'll have to do it again. Try again. End of the row. This is the end of the row as we know it. These scissors need some care. They're a bit not sharp. Okay. There it is. Oh, wow. Let's just get rid of... Where is the math dice roll? We need to get rid of that. There it is. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in our live stream for so long. And so many of you as well for such a long time. I'll do some measurements at some stage and work out exactly where we're up to. Oh, hello, dice. And work out exactly where we're up to with the blanket. But, I mean, it's this wide so far. I don't have a tape measure handy. So I would hazard a guess that it's about 85 centimeters long. I've done a measuring thing where from the tip of my finger through to my other shoulder is 1 meter. I think everyone should know how to measure a meter on their body. So yeah, but it's short. It's not that. So unstretched, I'm trying carefully not to stretch it from fingertip to here, whereas 1 meter is here. So yeah, I'd say it's 10, 15 centimeters short off a meter. So that means we're nearly halfway done. If that's right. I'm like, is that right? Maybe that's not right. But yes, I will have a look. I'll do some measuring do's. I'm like, why don't I have a tape measure right here? I used to. I will catch you all next week. Hopefully I still have a voice after retreat. That's the goal. And you guys have an awesome one. And those that are traveling up to retreat, safe travels, and I'll see you there soon. Those of you that aren't, we will be having our productivity streams next month. We will be having normal live streams next month. And we'll also be getting some extra video content in next month. So it's going to be a big month. And we will catch you all next time now. Bye all.